What's good? What's good, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of The Urban Platform Speaks. Make sure to like and subscribe as you come into the channel and check out the content. And with that being said, I want to speak on some recent statements that Stephen A. Smith made about Aaron Rodgers. You know, Stephen A. Smith, usually when it comes to Aaron Rodgers, he always, speak about how Aaron Rodgers is a bad man and how Aaron Rodgers throws the prettiest ball. And he always speak highly of Aaron Rodgers, and sometimes I think that even Stephen A. Smith even kind of exaggerates. Like in my opinion, he exaggerates Aaron Rodgers' greatness. And so now, today Stephen A. Smith made a statement about Aaron Rodgers, and saying that Aaron Rodgers, because of Aaron Rodgers, like two coaches on the New York Jets got fired. And the reason why they got fired, in Stephen A's opinion, is because Aaron Rodgers is not really playing up to his ability on the field. So had Aaron Rodgers, been playing a little bit better or close to the ability, or close to the expectations that the coaches and the staff thought that Aaron Rodgers could play, then those jobs would be saved. First of all, I think probably like about week 17, or I'm sorry, week about 3 or 4, something like that, they fired coach. Week 4, I think it was, they fired Coach Douglas, the head coach for the Jets, and they got rid of him. And so now I don't know if the Jets thought that, getting rid of their coach in game 4 was going to motivate everybody else and kind of like galvanize the team, but it didn't do that. It didn't do that. It made the organization, in my opinion, made them look like they were panicking. And so things just got worse from then on. The Jets still wasn't able to turn it around. And now, so recently, the Jets have fired they fired the guy, what's his name? Silas. And, he's been fired. So, and like I said, that's two people who have been fired. And Stephen A. Smith is saying that basically, this really falls at the feet of Aaron Rodgers. And, and so now they're saying that Aaron Rodgers is an organization killer, right? And, I'm not sure if I would want to call him an organization killer, but I do think that Aaron Rodgers can be selfish. He got hurt last season. In less than 4 plays into the season, he got hurt and missed the entire year. And coming back into training camp, and he had an opportunity to work with the wide receivers and get off to a good start. And Aaron Rodgers declined. He declined to do that, to come in and work with the wide receivers and just kind of just like make sure that everybody was on the same page. And so when I seen Aaron Rodgers, when I seen him do that, that to me just let me know that Aaron Rodgers was just mainly, he's just mainly just thinking about himself. Even if Aaron Rodgers, he knew that he knew all the plays and he knew that he was going to be on point, I think that extra workout would have been good for the wide receivers. It would have been able to, he would have been able to take that time to build like trust and build like chemistry between himself and the wide receivers. But he didn't do that. And see, that's why I don't think I never compared or thought that Aaron Rodgers was like in the same league or the same category of Tom Brady. That's the kind of thing that Tom Brady would do. Tom Brady definitely wanted to, he wanted to make sure that he was on the same page with his receivers. It wasn't uncommon for Tom Brady to have wide receivers stay at his house, during the off season so they can practice and work together. But I've never heard anybody say anything like that about Aaron Rodgers, like him sacrificing his time during the off season to work with wide receivers and to try to build chemistry with the people, his teammates, so they can make sure that they're on the same page when the season starts, And so that's why, I think that, Stephen A. Smith's comments today about Aaron Rodgers being, not living up to his expectations and being like an organizational killer. I thought that those statements were more than what I expected from Stepen A. Smith, but I thought they were accurate. He was known in Green Bay for not really being kind of standoff or aloof when it comes to dealing with other players. Like I said, he's nothing like Tom Brady. Like Tom Brady had a relationship with his teammates. This Aaron Rodgers is not really that kind of guy. He's not like a he's just not really the warm and fuzzy type kind of teammate. He's not one of the guys. Sometimes he can be a little bit standoffish, and when you're standoffish like that, I think that affects the chemistry of the team. Certain players he need to build chemistry with and make them feel comfortable, and he didn't do that. And in my opinion, that's what great quarterbacks do. That's why I always thought that Aaron Rodgers, in my opinion, was overrated. People speak about, he throws, he throws a great deep pass, and how pretty his passes are and stuff like that. But I thought that it was overrated because football is about more than just throwing a great deep pass, and it's about more than throwing a pretty pass. And if that's all he had, if that's all, what he was known for, those two attributes, I didn't think that was enough for people to make Aaron Rodgers seem like he was a second coming. I didn't think that Aaron Rodgers would have the type of success in New York that Tom Brady had, in Tampa Bay. Like he wasn't going to be able to bring that team together. And New York has some talent. Their defense, is pretty good. Was pretty good, and they had some talent. They had some good pieces on offense also. And so basically, all they were missing was like that quarterback, that leadership that comes from that quarterback position. And a lot of people feel like Aaron Rodgers just dropped the ball and he let his teammates down. He let his team down, and he let the city of New York down. And so, kudos to Stepen A. Smith for finally, speaking the truth about Aaron Rodgers. And a lot of people say that Aaron Rodgers probably won't be, in New York with the Jets next year. So we'll see. But I don't know who would want Aaron Rodgers. Like what team would want Aaron Rodgers, or who feel like they can use his services. And so I don't know what the market will be like I said, for Aaron Rodgers. But that's my opinion. That's my take on it. Make sure to like and subscribe. And with that being said, I will check you all out in the next episode. Peace.